Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 275. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, joined here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Oh, hoi hoi.
And joining us for the first time, all the way from beautiful England, coming to us from the Wrestle Talk Network and his own YouTube channel, Pete Repeat, it's Pete Quinnell.
Hello. Hi, how's it going?
Great,
I feel like you
man.
have to say his name twice just from Pete Repeat. I don't know.
I technically did when I said Pete Repeat, then Pete.
Yeah, but just throw another repeat into the Pete.
It's repeating multiple times. It's great.
Could that be like your wrestling stage name where it's like Pete and then, commas Pete Quinnell?
Yeah, it'd be like the gimmick. You always you do every move twice. I like it. I don't know shit about wrestling and I enjoy it.
Honestly, that would be a really fun comedy gimmick to do everything twice. Oh, that's...
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that. That's mine now. Thanks.
Keep
No,
it in the back
absolutely. That's a free pitch for you there.
We got loads of ideas over here. We're just ripe for hiring and any creative project you've got in mind.
But this particular project is looking at other people's creative project. Yes, we are looking at The Simpsons, the only podcast to do it as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, as far as...
But, we're not like those cowards who only look at the classic era. We get into the depths and look at the new stuff as well, like we're doing today. But first of all, especially with our first-time guest, Pete, we first turn to you and ask, what is your Simpsons history? Let's get nostalgic. Where was The Simpsons for you? Where did it first start?
So I used to watch The Simpsons a fair amount when I was a kid. It used to be on TV when I got home from school. It was like at 6 o'clock on, I think, like Channel 4 maybe here. And that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. We had a few VHSs of those packs you get with 4 episodes on.
Ask your parents, kids.
So I know like eight episodes really well, and the rest is just like casual. But and honestly, the vast majority of my in later life, my knowledge of Simpsons and awareness of it is just through other people in the Wrestle Talk office quoting it all the time, and that's the full extent. But no, I very much have a fondness for it, especially the older years. There's a few episodes in particular that I treasure, like the baseball one is a classic.
Classic.
I've got Wonderbat is great, and yeah, there's a few others. I can't even remember the name of it, but the one in the Las Vegas one where they get Ned Flanders drunk and then he gets married, whatever that one's called.
Yep.
Yeah, wow, that a bit of a later one for but no, you're right. I mean, Homer at the bat. I mean, I'm sure it's the same for you and us as Australians. Baseball's not much of a thing over here, and for that episode to have so many baseball-specific guest stars, and for it to not be a problem that I don't know baseball, is such an amazing feat for that episode.
It was like a party in my mouth, and everyone was invited.
Brilliant. So quotable.
But yeah, what about the flip side of that? Where are you at with the show lately? Do you keep up with the new episodes? Watch it with anticipation every single week?
Not even a little bit. I think this might be the first Simpsons episode I've seen in several years. Aside from on various lunch breaks where we'd watch old classic episodes in the offices and stuff.
No one had made the big pitch. Hey, how about for lunch this time we dig up one from season 33?
No, that was never even broached as a topic.
Let's go way back in time. Go to season 27.
Never even broached as a possibility. Was always like, let's go like season 9. Cool, yeah, let's go there.
Yep. But out of curiosity, what else would, besides wrestling, obviously, what else could come up on the lunch break over there at the offices?
Oh, what happens? So we occasionally watch wrestling, we watch Simpsons. If there's any good like YouTube videos from any creators that we really like, we'll chuck those on. People like Super Eye Patch Wolf, we often put his videos on, or Cat Icarus is also another guy that we watch a lot. Or we play games. We play stuff like Speedrunners is a game that we play all the time. There is... what's the bloody name of it? Towerfall, I want to say, is another game that we play a lot, which is great. Or if we can, we start going through a phase of trying to squeeze in a Mario Party game on lunch break if we can.
Oh yeah.
Which has been really fun. So yeah, it's a pretty chill vibe. It's whatever we feel like doing at the time. If there's like a big wrestling show that's happened, particularly if it's like a New Japan show or something, we'll try and fit in like the best match from that card on like a lunch break or something. But aside from that, it's pretty chill. Sometimes we don't get to do anything together because we're all busy and we've got work to do. But if we can, we'll try and make time and do that.
Yeah, just to get a nice idea of the type of content you all like to enjoy as well, especially in relation to this episode, which is very much about pop culture and the things we enjoy and everything. So, let's crack on into it. We just watched Season 35, Episode 9, Murder, She Boat. First released in December of 2023, it was directed by Chris Clements, written by Broti Gupta. In this episode, it's a murder mystery on a boat. A comic book guy's very valuable radioactive man figure that's been misprinted, I guess, with a toy, with Wolverine claws, has had the head snapped off it, and Bart was suspect number 1, and he got locked up, but Lisa's on the case to try and find out who the real murderer was, and she's got Taika Waititi to help her.
As you do.
What do we think? What do we think of this one?
I'm not angry, I'm just bored.
Accurate, honestly.
Yeah.
Look, I'll be honest. When this one started up and I saw the thumbnail, I'm like, oh, it's a mystery on a boat. I'm like, hell yeah! I love locked door puzzles and secluded rooms with only certain secluded mysteries where you only have a certain set number of suspects. And yes, this is my jam. Let's go. Not my jam. No, I read the label wrong. This is not my jam.
No.
100%. This, I felt like, was a very superficial episode. The mystery was not the main draw of the episode. The draw was, we made a reference to pop culture, therefore, please laugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that didn't sit well with me, because I don't find that particularly amusing, especially when it's coming from The Simpsons, who Disney.
Yeah.
Especially when they're like, hey, we've parodied the theme song to The Love Boat. Hey, kids, you know The Love Boat? You remember The Love Boat? Ask your grandparents about The Love Boat.
Yeah. This is sort of another trend of New Simpsons where they do a parody of a song, but it's like a particularly slow song, so the lyrics are coming at you very slowly, and it really does highlight the poorness of the writing when it is delivered so slow, and especially in this one, because, like you said, Pete, this is just, here's the reference. Here's a character cosplaying as this thing. Huh?
Yeah. And structurally as well, you don't know who's singing until the end of the song. So you kind of sound who? For a while I thought, it's not Homer, but is it Homer's voice acting? 'Cause it sounds really similar.
Yeah.
I don't even know in the end. It was the captain, I guess, who then wasn't a character. Yeah. So
I'm not sure what they were trying to achieve with a lot of this. Because if you wanted the murder mystery, I feel like you should write the murder mystery first. But it felt like what they did was, we've got a vehicle to reference all of the properties that we own. So we could write this episode, and here you go. We just need to advertise all the things that we own. Flawless plan, guys. And the murder mystery felt it felt like the B plot somehow.
Yeah.
To this A plot of references.
And especially just, this guest star got a lot more to do than guest stars generally get on The Simpsons. Usually it's very much hi, I'm here. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm just passing through Springfield. But
what are you doing in Springfield?
But yeah, with the whole Taika Waititi, and I was kind of amused at the start where he was so into himself and full of the references, but he was just in the entire fucking episode and it got so boring.
Yeah, I did write down, is he supposed to be annoying? I mean, I think kind of, but they didn't lean into it hard enough for it to really work. And yeah, there's someone who said, I mean, they've been doing this for a long time now, but Simpsons guest voices used to voice characters, and at a certain point it flipped and they were just themselves. And does not work out most of the time.
No. Yeah, what do you think of Taika in this, Pete?
I was confused by Taika, I think. When he first came in, I was like, okay, it's another reference. You know, they've already done 17 in the episode to this point, and it's been 2 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, and they can say, look, it's Taika Waititi, and we can go, there he is. and then he's going to leave.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. It didn't make me laugh, but it was there, whatever. And then they saw him again, and I was like, okay, he's still here. That's why.
Yeah.
And then the whole time, I was like, I was confused as to what the point of Taika Waititi is, apart from like Vegemite, and like that was the reference they wanted to do was Vegemite because he's from New Zealand. Okay. Is that the whole reason you got Taika Waititi? I feel like there could have been more, like a reason to specifically get Taika Waititi for this role. What does he bring to the guest spot? What's the point in having him and not anybody else? You know, like what makes Taika in this episode? It's nothing. He's a celebrity insert, you know? I was confused as what the point was.
Yeah. And there's another weird segment as well when, like, he says he's going to help Lisa on the investigation, and Lisa has the same reaction of, Taika Waititi, you're going to help me? And it's like, oh, just she already had that tonality the first time we met him. To do it again just felt very retreading an already very cringe moment of, yes, celebrity, what are you doing here?
And yeah, also I'll point out, and I don't know, it feels like this is just a massive oversight in the script, is that Vegemite is very Australian and not really New Zealandish.
Yeah.
Like, this is how we, like, keep trying to claim that Russell Crowe is ours. No, not really. It's
not so much there anymore. But,
No, that's right. We had our face with that. It was the first one I could think of, though. And
No,
I'm
fair.
sure a Crowded House reference would be lost on Pete. Not familiar with the band Crowded House.
Love that. I was genuinely going to ask you guys, because my understanding is that Vegemite is an Australian thing as well. I was like, why is that the New Zealanders thing?
I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, maybe it's big in New Zealand as well.
I've got a few New Zealand cousins, and I'm pretty sure they were like, oh no, it's Marmite that's the bigger thing over here. Yeah.
Yeah, but Americans won't know what Marmite is, so yeah, it's technically, it's not the biggest problem with this episode, so I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Yeah.
But also, his liberal use of Vegemite on seafood is very accurate. That is a very tasty treat, I must say so myself.
Yeah.
There's one part as well, like you were saying, with the weird like tonality of you've already used the "oh my god, a celebrity" tone before, and then they did it again. The amount of times that they specifically said Taika Waititi, his full name in the episode, it was like, is that? Do you think that's the joke? Is that you've said his name? And it was like the bit where the wife of comic book guy is like, "Shut up, Taika Waititi," and it was like, you just want that to be a soundbite, I think. Like, you don't care about what it means in the story or why you're saying it. It's just like, we've got Taika Waititi. We're going to ham home. Look, his name isn't Taika. His name is Taika Waititi. Listen. Like, it just felt like very like, oh my God, Taika Waititi the whole time. It was weird.
Yeah, I would bet it's a mix of promo and like it's in his contract to be like, look, if you're going to have me in this, I'm really tired of people pronouncing my name wrong. You're going to say it at every available opportunity.
Yeah,
Not
to be
Taika
fair,
Waititi.
it did take him like 4 of his like most successful movies for me to finally pronounce his name right. So yeah, and even then,
Look, benefit to this episode. I feel like I'm not going to forget it now.
Yeah.
So
it's drilled in there.
That was the whole purpose of the episode.
yeah, well, mission accomplished.
All right, well, let's start out with the questionnaire. BT, we'll start with you. What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
Look, I'm going to say, like, I try to go on all these favorably. I genuinely do. But the first opening image of this one kind of immediately had me going, okay. Where Marge is going out to get the mail, singing a song about, I'm Marge, I'm going to go get the mail.
Sorry, can I just stop you there, BT?
Yep.
So for Pete, someone who has been away from The Simpsons for a while, how was hearing Marge's voice?
Interesting.
Diplomatic,
Interesting.
yes, I love it.
Yeah, it was different than what I expected. And there's a few moments in this episode where not just Marge, but a couple of other voices, I was like, oh, that's not what I expected. And not in a good way, which is a real shame, because I'm sure they're trying the best, whatever. But there's a couple of times where I'm like, oh, that doesn't jive with me,
I think I know one in particular we'll talk about, but anyway, sorry, BT, continue.
Yeah. It felt incredibly first pass of the script. It was like, okay, Marge gets the mail and realizes that the stimulus checks got stuck to the top of the letterbox and therefore they haven't spent them yet. And it's like, fine. It's like, okay, how do we do that? Well, I guess Marge is singing a song like, oh, I'm Marge, I'm going to go check the mail. But it just, again, it felt incredibly first draft. And there are a few moments of that where it's like, you guys have a delete key on your keyboard, right? You can go back and change something to something better. Like, I I don't know. It's not that it was awful. It was just smacked of low effort from the very word go, I guess.
I will say, to give this episode the absolute best, this is amongst the writer's strike seasons where... Yeah,
and it shows.
That they really cut back the episode order. I mean, to their credit, I think, the Simpsons staff were very pro the strikes and were, helping out their staff a lot through that time. Mm-hmm. But Pete, how about you? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
Can I cheat and say two things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah. So there's one good and one bad. I know, shocking, there's a good bit. But the bad bit for me is, I don't know if anyone knows this about me. If you know anything about me and you know me outside of this show, I really like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? That's like my show, right? That's my thing. And they made a reference to it on this, and they said, oh my god, Avatar's playing volleyball. They've got Na'vi versus the Last Airbenders. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, okay, Avatar. There are two properties called Avatar. Cool. And then it pans across to them playing volleyball, right? And I'm like, okay, there is an avenue for a joke here, like a visual joke. You have like the Na'vi playing with like the big tail things. Maybe they connect and do something. Or you have the airbenders. You know, they airbend a volleyball. They literally do a little bit of magic and do some airbending on the volleyball. And they just played volleyball. And that was it. And it was just a point. There was no joke, no extra visual gag to it. I was like, it's like you said, it's so first draft. It is like, there are two things called Avatar. That's the joke. Like, that's the whole
Why aren't you laughing?
bit of it. Why aren't you laughing? It's two things called Avatar. Come on. So that bit was really disappointing for me. As a Last Airbender guy, I was very disappointed.
Absolutely. Great video of it on your YouTube channel.
Thank you very much. There is one joke that I think got a nose exhalation from me in this episode, where I actually went like, which was right at the end when he was saying, you need a warrant to search through my cabin. And he goes, we're in international waters. He says, we're in the middle of Lake Springfield. I can see that guy over here. I was like, that's a funny joke. That's good. But that is it. That's the only time in the whole episode where I just went, nice.
Yep.
That has come up so much for people to describe the kind of laughter they get from New Simpsons is that, air came out my nose, so it was a joke I found funny, I guess.
I dislodged some snot.
Yeah.
No, for real. And what stands out to me, look, is again to try and give this episode as much as I can. I think there was something kind of good about the whole like comic book guy being, I don't know, the king of the nerds on the nerd boat, but then through the interrogation process, and it was revealed he was spying on that whole process and hearing people's criticisms. I think there was a nugget of a good idea there where comic book guy could do a little bit of growth and whatever, but it just sort of came so late in the episode and after the really laborious, this is what happened, at least are unraveling the mystery with Taika Waititi, that they just sort of didn't leave themselves enough time for comic book guy to have this sort of character growth arc.
And he's not been involved enough for me to really worry about him having a moment. Because for a long time, I'm like, okay, it probably was comic book guy because we've not seen him at all of this episode since the crime was committed, which usually the way these things work. And then, they do the fake out. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But for me to have a heart moment for him, and it's reasonable. He sees everyone talking trash about him. He sees his wife talking about how he's been so obsessed with this doll, he's forgotten about her. It was fine, but then, of course, it then ended with the old Titanic throwing the action figure into the ocean. I'm like, sell it. It's worth £935,000, which is around, $1.84 million dues. It's just, if you don't want it, sell it. But no, they have to have their little Titanic bit. Because, hey, kids, remember Titanic? Ask your parents.
It is very much that. Yeah, the references that they do choose to hang on is pretty outdated at this stage.
Yeah, and it's not something I want to rag on a lot, but we have copped criticism in the past, like, but you just don't get, like, The Simpsons is not for you anymore. It's for a new generation, to which I say, bullshit. It is for podcasters these days. For real. On the Simpsons Index, we like to sort of think about the two pillars of what we thought made the classic era, so special. Was, the Simpsons' ability to balance, a wacky cartoon show with genuine emotional storytelling. So, starting out first, what were some of the wacky moments that stood out to you from this episode, Pete?
Wacky moments that stood out to me.
Do you think they use the cartoon space well?
No. That's the easy answer, because I feel like all of the wacky moments for that was all. I mean, like we've kind of been saying through this whole thing, it was all very superficial. It was all just like Homer likes seafood. Yeah, yep. There you go. You know, and Taika Waititi gets a thing in his contract where he gets a top bottle of a thing, and Homer says dough. You know, like, okay, cool. You know, it felt very, very, very pedestrian.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that act break where it was like the Simpsons are dressed up as the Addams Family for a dinner, and it ends with Homer going da 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 doll. It's really, guys.
I cringed pretty hard at that.
Yeah, that one sucked.
But yeah, again, just to harp on this point, that they used the animation to just put various Springfieldians in cosplay, and it wasn't even really Springfieldians. They were just kind of generic drawings, and just so they can make a bunch of lazy references to shit. And I don't feel like there was any inherent comedy to the costumes either, that they were like kind of crappy and put together. They were like it was just cosplay.
Yeah,
it'd be like the person walking around a floor at a cosplay convention just laughing at everyone, because I understood that reference.
Yeah.
How about you, BT? What do you reckon of the wackiness?
Surprisingly, a lack of whack. As much as it kind of didn't fit to have the Simpsons dressed as the Addams Family, other than the thumbnail, I guess. I did like Maggie dressed as Cousin It. That was kind of funny.
I didn't mind actually Homer going, but I should be Festa. I was like, yeah, you really should.
Yeah, his line of, I'm already bald and I own several black moo-moos. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Again, when I say funny, I don't mean I laughed. I went,
Yeah, just to prove we're not totally down on this episode, but
yeah, I'm still going to mark it as a positive. There's a quick little hedonism bot reference. I enjoy hedonism bot, so I like that was in there, and not, we didn't grind to a halt to point to it.
And yeah, that was the other guest star of the episode. Maurice LaMarche dropped in to do a little hedonism bot impression for us.
Nice. On the downside of wacky, there's a bit when Comic Book Guy, it's revealed that his, collectible has its head ripped off. Kamiko runs in and says, "No, husband, I will join your pain," and starts playing that Japanese, I don't know what it's called, the kind of stringed instrument that you lay across your lap and pluck. I don't know what it is, but it's just like...
It weirdly might be called a taiko. No, that's the drum.
But yeah, it was just one of those, that feels incredibly first draft, where it's like, she's going to run in and do a sad thing. It's like, no, you can go back and try again, guys. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Was this a bit of a surprise as well? Comic Book Guy has a wife. He's had a wife since season 25 now. That
was new. Good for him, I guess. Good for him. Mm-hmm. I thought the dynamic was good. It's kind of what you were saying earlier about the character growth moment of him realizing about, the people have been talking behind his back, and you could have a nice, genuine moment of character growth and him coming back to his wife and stuff like that. But the punchline of it was that he was trapped in the gym, which to me is just like
one place we'll never look.
One place we'll never find him. The gym. It's just like, haha, he's fat. It's like that's lazy. Come on, guys. Like again, first draft. Like, come on, you could do something else with this. Give it a bit more actual growth.
Yeah, especially when he didn't have to vanish. When the plan gets revealed that Taika Waititi owns the other version of this doll, but he broke his, we wanted to switch him out. Comic Book Guy and he's like, Comic Book Guy did it for the insurance money, but he doesn't have to be gone for that. Like, he just has to be standing there going, "Oh, that's a lie," but you still have the same amount of evidence. So, I don't know, it doesn't, it could have been used for better effect. My other bit of whack is, again, this is the second episode we've watched in the recent seasons where they have a witness who they just have to wait 5 minutes to ask. Because there was one where someone was stealing all the UPS gifts off the people's front lawn, and Lenny gets knocked out, but it's like, but he knows the culprit. It's like, so just wait till he wakes up. Like, he's not in a coma. And in this one, Rainier Wolfcastle was like, I was wearing my night vision goggles and I saw who it was. It was this bunk. And then gets knocked out. And it's like, just wait till he wakes up. If he doesn't wake up in 5 minutes, you have a much bigger problem on your hands.
I will say, I didn't mind the whole riff. I was wearing my night vision goggles for this night vision goggle movie I was in. I thought that was a good joke, but undercut by something we were referring to before. This was not a good read for Rainier Wolfcastle. Harry Shearer was not bringing it in this performance, I thought. Agree with me there, Peter?
Yeah. It's such a shame because I really like Rainier Wolfcastle as like a character, especially as like a little comedy side character. I think he's fantastic. But this was not the best inclusion I've seen of Mr. Wolfcastle, unfortunately. Again, it kind of emblematic of the whole episode. Very superficial,
Yeah.
He was just there.
Absolutely. Actually, just before you do, Beach, because one of the things we know about Harry Shearer is he actually lives in London. Do you know him? Do you see him around?
It's a very small city. Actually, they all know each other.
Yeah. It's not grossly overpopulated city. It's not too many people. Definitely. I see him around all the time. Yeah.
But yeah, I hear he plays jazz clubs and stuff with his wife sometimes over there.
Crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Something to keep an eye out for.
But so because that's a lot of people on first reaction will go, oh, Marge is sounding different, interesting. And then the one recently for us is, Harry Shearer's his voice is deteriorating a bit. And that's the other thing. The performances have not been really genuine. Yeah. And it's got the thing that he's literally phoning it in these days. He's living in London and phoning in his performances quite literally.
Yeah, but that was never really a problem. Whereas
he's been doing it for 12 years now. Yeah,
a lot of his characters are just he either can't or won't. I'm assuming it's can't. He's just getting a little bit older. Because that happens, and voice acting is tough, and you've got to put a lot of emotion in your voice. But it's really getting noticeable with him to a great detriment.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't in this episode, but it's weird to go, Mr. Burns sounds old,
Yeah, and wrong old,
So, what about the other pillar? How did they land the heart, the emotion moments? Did you feel the bumps?
We just talked about how that could have been done better, so not particularly.
I think the other part of it that could have hit, and I think almost did, was the bit where Bart was coming clean to Lisa to be like, I'm going to own up to all of my lies, and I need you to believe me about this. And I don't think the things he was revealing were particularly funny, but could have, if they'd have tweaked it a little bit, that would have been a little bit better. But then the actual moment of him saying, I need you to believe in me, and she goes, oh my God, I believe you, is okay, that's something. There is a little something there. But then of course the scene ends and they move on. But there was something there where I was like, again, there's an element that you almost landed, but it didn't quite work.
Yeah, because we don't return to Bart at any point in the episode until the end, so we don't get sort of an increase of his emotional distress. I mean, I know it's not the funniest thing in the world to watch, but it's engaging storytelling.
Yeah, but it's also because one of the pieces of evidence is of course Bart did it. He was yelling at Comic Book Guy when the lights went out, and he's got these 3 scratches across his face made by the Wolverine claws. It must have been him. And at no point does someone say, well, if it wasn't the Wolverine, how did you get those scratches? And it's kind of we could have figured that way earlier. We just needed to ask the accused.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the other thing. The Simpsons, especially Springfield, mob mentality. I can buy that they'd rush to the conclusion and whatever. But it does feel like that sort of between that moment and then between the potential Comic Book Guy heart moment. Yeah, we didn't really have any emotional build in this middle. It was... Yeah,
it never feels like there's any real stake, and that's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are these the characters we know and love? Is this the show we know and love?
Yeah. Look, I do feel like there's some... I feel like there's some integrity breaks here, Lisa is not this kind of nerd. Lisa is a science nerd. She's not really a pop culture nerd, so... her being the reason they're on this cruise doesn't really feel very natural. It's not the worst, but it's just a little bit off.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, I couldn't help but thinking the whole time is just, are they trying to do a Disney cruise advertisement without saying explicitly Disney cruise? Because,
hey, you can enjoy all this fun and excitement yourself on one of Disney's many cruises.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Disney.
But in this question, Pete, we like to talk about character integrity, show integrity. How did that sort of land with you?
Yeah, everyone felt a little off in this one. Like you were saying, Lisa being the thing and not Bart, especially because Bart is the whole focus of the episode and he's the main suspect and all that stuff. I think it would have been more narratively fitting if he was the one to get them on the boat and then was the accused, and his dream trip is ruined by Comic Book Guy being there. Feels like a more natural progression of that. Also, I feel like Marge was just kind of, I want to just say there.
Yeah.
She was just kind of there. Didn't really offer anything in the episode of note apart from the joke that Homer lets her down. And Lisa needs to learn that life lesson of people are going to let you down. And that's all that Marge was there for, which, again, felt a little I don't know, disingenuous. Like, it felt like she would have cared more if Bart was in prison, or maybe she would have done more if her son was going to be imprisoned.
We'll let our 8-year-old daughter sort it out.
Yeah. Felt a little off. Homer was fine. I thought he was there. He was eating seafood. Sure, whatever. Yeah. But again, didn't add anything of substance in particular. Yeah, it feels like an imitation. It feels like an imitation of the show. It feels like people have been boiled down to one note, and then that one note kind of gets twisted and contorted into whatever they need it to fit in that episode. Yeah, it's a little off.
No, I mean, especially with Homer, where like it feels like they're starting something there where he starts out like being really against this and finding the whole idea of the nerd cruise like really tedious and everything. But then, that doesn't go into anywhere or play into the rest of the story or even the rest of the arc of his episode. He's just like, oh, there's food. Okay, that's my thing now.
And I feel like that wasn't even paid off in particular. If you had the first few minutes of Homer complaining about the thing, and, he was there while they were doing the parody of the song, and he was there like rolling his eyes at everything and being annoyed about this whole nerd boat. And then he comes in and he's like kicking and screaming, or he's complaining, just being like, why are we even here? What are we even doing here? And he goes, oh, food. And then he goes off and does that. Like, that wasn't even a joke in the thing. It was just, it just feels like it wasn't very good at every level.
Well, glad we agree on that. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
No.
We're not even folding laundry to this thing.
No, not at all.
Not even if another Simpsons podcast asks you on and it says, we're doing Murder, She Wrote.
No, I'll just go from memory, thanks. I'm not going to watch it again.
You got the gist.
No, for real. All right. Well, it's funny. These are one of those episodes that we can't talk about without wanting to change it at everything we talk about, but we'll do our best. Anyway, BT, what would you like to change about this episode? How would you like to improve it?
Look, just tighten up them dogs for the most part. I want a different reason for them to have tickets to this thing, for starters. It's fine, but it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel organic enough to me, and I like the idea that it's Bart who wants to go.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
That pushes it, like you were saying, Pete, like that keeps him as the focus, and then it turns into a nightmare for him, because at the moment it's just like, he's just, I guess we're going on a cruise. Oh no, it's comic book guy. Here's the beef I had with him in a previous scene we didn't see before, and just does the flashback, and it's that's a bit weak. Like, it needs something else. I don't know. Every turn of this needs something else. And if you're going to have your, main guest star be kind of annoying, have them turn it up to 11. It's like, I know he's not, I was about to say he's not an actor. He is an actor. Yeah. Sometimes you get non-actors who are, doing their best, and it's like, he's, mostly a director or known for it, but he's done plenty of acting. So I don't know why he's not hamming it up himself.
Yeah, he's the best on-screen Hitler since Bruno, what's his name?
Bruno Mars? Yeah, I know, he's terrible.
Glad they changed the clip for Locked Out of Heaven. That was a bad choice.
My apologies to Bruno Mars fans. I'm kidding. I don't apologize. He sucks.
Oh, jeez. How about you, Pete? What would you like to change about this one?
I feel like the biggest and easiest change for this is to write the murder mystery first. Like, that, I think, should be the main thing that is actually, like, good about this episode. Because naturally, in a murder mystery like this, when you're on a themed cruise or something like that, I think jokes do come naturally. When you have certain stakes, when you have certain like plot twists and things like that, you can have jokes that organically will come through that process. When you have people in cosplay who have to be very serious or whatever, that could lend itself to some comedy. But the murder mystery wasn't done well at all. Yeah. And a lot of like the crucial information the audience weren't aware of. So it's like, well, how is this even supposed to even be even fun for the audience to watch? This isn't. So I get that right first.
Yeah, the entire crux of the episode is not engaging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's it. It's all this unveiling of the clues and everything that just feels, oh, that's convenient, like, and Homer scratching Bart with the fork is just really an unsatisfying thing. Like, yeah, as like if that was the entirety of the purpose of his arc, it's like,
yeah, like you could have even had it done visually where the audience sees it and Bart just goes, ow, but you don't see there's scratches on him, and then 2 scenes later we have the real like, but he has scratches on his face, he did do it, and like that's enough to let us know it's there without telling us.
Yeah. What I'd like to change, I think there's a really good arc for comic book guy to go on where, in this boat and at his store, he is like the king of the castle, and like he really flaunts his power there, and like and his influences over the nerds here, like, and I think there's something to that to explore. Oh yeah, what do people say when they're being candid, and then for him to, I think just, don't trap him in the gym. Just have him just become a bit reclusive and just like go a bit more introspective or whatever. Like, especially that'd be crushing to hear from your wife that she's like depressed and like doesn't find it a turn on that he's reading out serial codes in bed or whatever she said.
Yeah. And then even change the thing where he's like, I heard what you said about how you don't like how I've become so obsessed with this. And you're right. Why don't we sell the doll and we'll go on a proper cruise together?
Yeah.
And that'll be fine.
There you go.
Great.
No nerds cruise. Just
yeah.
And then like Homer's like, can I come? And they're like, no. There you go. Wraps that around.
Yep.
And I want more of Bart as well. More Bart by the bowlful. More Bart all the time. Because we need to build up the emotional reason like for Lisa to, perpetuate this, and also to give a sort of indication that Tyker's trying to throw her off the scent. That's why he's paired up with her. Like,
yeah, that would make sense too.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of things would make sense in a second draft. All right, I think we are here. It is time for our final notes.
Now it's time for our final notes. Everyone's final notes, including yours.
Pete, do you have any other parts of this episode you want to mention before we move on to the rankings?
I don't know if there's anything extra aside from what we've already said. I think BT kind of nailed it. If you're going to have Taika Waititi, actually have Taika Waititi in your episode and like make him really annoying. If he's going to be your villain, like ham that up, You've got Taika Waititi. He's nuts. Like lean into that.
No,
fully. Actually, come to think of it, wasn't he like cosplaying as a character he's going to be in a future movie?
Yes,
so
in Murder He Swords.
They're like, why doesn't he keep doing that? It's like, that's at least a good, annoying bit to have, like being an overly, dramatic detective while Lisa's like, my brother's in trouble here. I need your help. And he's just,
that's it. And you can just excuse it. Yeah, I'm going method for this one. There you go.
Yeah. And then later on you find out, no, that's just trying to throw her off the scent. So.
Yeah. How about you, BT?
Yeah, whatever his thing, you see a glimpse of the movie he's going to be in, and he's like, the murder is the Black Plague. And like, that was not funny.
No. And then the follow-up joke was, it's going to sell because it's based on existing IP. And then the Simpsons go, existing IP.
Yeah.
What?
Very like, the Black Plague. Haven't you heard? Great IP. Huge. What are you talking about? And the best I can figure, it's based on Our Flag Means Death, which is based on history, not existing IP. So I don't even know what they're referencing there. Yeah, weird. There's a bit where Lisa's complaining about how Bart's always, trashed her things and ripped all the heads off of her dolls. And he's like, those aren't valuable. Those are yours. He's like, okay, that's a decent line. Oh, there's a stupid bit where we find out why Sideshow Mel had a grudge against Comic Book Guy because he wrote a petition to get Mel removed from the Wacky Races Furry Road. And I'm like, you guys did not Google the term furry road, did you? That's probably already a movie and probably only available from certain websites. But
look, I'll admit conceptually the idea of doing a gritty remake of
Wacky Races? Oh,
Wacky Races in, Mad Max style.
Yeah.
That kind of got me, but tedious for the rest of it, like Sideshow Mel is, but I will admit.
And it's the example of a few more passes on the script could have refined that down into an actually good joke, because concept is fine. It just sticks a little too much on the execution.
And Timothée Chalamet as Muttley is very good casting, I will admit.
Yep. There's a bit where, Lisa's about to give up and Homer's just like, there, sweetie, go get some sleep. Bart will still be horribly guilty in the morning. I like that line. Homer describes Lisa throws him the shield that knocked out Rainier Wolfcast. He's like, Dad, lick this shield. He's like, salty, yeasty, hints of mild grossness. Multi-grossness, sorry. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Actually, just on that, Pete, have you tried Vegemite at all, or?
No, I have not. And Marmite here, I hate it. I'm strong in the hate camp of Marmite, so not good.
Well, it is like a preview for what Vegemite is like. So if you don't like Marmite, you're probably not going to get on board with Vegemite.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Even though it's the much superior spread.
Yep. I joke that I was very much like, okay, that's actually quite witty. Again, not laugh out loud witty, but it's like, I appreciate what you did there, where, the big reveal is, you can tell it's Taika Waititi's doll is the one that's broken because it's got color spelled with the letter U, and then Lisa has a line of like, oh, of course you'd recognize your favorite or your favorite. I'm like, okay, that's putting the U in the pronunciation. I'm like, all right, that's actually pretty funny.
I'm probably getting too hung up on the details here, but I still feel like that still makes your doll unique. Like, that one has the U and one doesn't. Like, video games get all up about, the differences between PAL and NTSC releases. Like, I don't know. That one just was like, overreaction, Taika. Yours is still very unique.
Yep.
With a capital U.
Yep. Let's see. And my last bit of whack is when Taika's getting dragged away, he's all like, I have powerful New Zealand friends, hobbits, orcs. I'm like, okay. And then he keeps going on to like, those guys that sung How Bizarre. And I'm like, that's a deep cut. I mean, I got it, but still.
The Otara Millionaires Club.
Mm-hmm.
And I only had a couple of other notes. The one joke about Lisa, like, as I was doing some research on the ship's Wi-Fi, which is spotty, it's like, crew's Wi-Fi suck. But then, I don't know, the crew looking all guilty and stuff kind of got to me.
Yeah, no, I like that as well. Because, it's like, well, it's not their fault, but I like their response of, yeah, we know.
Yep. And then, it ends out with yet another Titanic reference as we see a Batmobile and does the hand up the steam thing, but it's Homer just eating more seafood in the thing. And it's like...
Naked. Eating seafood naked.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not forget that part. In the Batmobile.
Yeah, that's... Is this a joke? Is this a comedy show anymore?
It's a thing that happened. There you go. It's a joke, I guess.
All right. One last bit of business before we move on to the rankings. Pete, you asked me, what do you need to prepare for this show? I said, no, you'll be all right. Just watch this episode. It's all good. But
you're fooled.
Springing this onto you. Sorry to spring this onto you last minute, but BT is going to ask you the most important question we ask on the Simpsons Index.
Yes. So we like to ask our new guests, basically, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on that sandwich? And if that's too difficult, we will settle for the easier version of what is the best sandwich. But if I'm hungry and I go into a sandwich shop and I order the Pete repeat, what am I getting?
Oh God, that is a lot of pressure you've just put on me. I hope you understand.
Look, take some time. Like Elliot and I will talk amongst ourselves. If you like, Elliot, nice beard.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that it's a grey, very distinguished.
What do I even have? What do I even have in sandwiches? I don't even know. What's a sandwich? Oh my God, my brain is. Oh God.
We will take anything between something that resembles. Someone has answered a wad of ham.
Yep.
So the concept of sandwich is very open.
Okay. What you would have is you would have like one of those slices of like chicken. And then you'd have like, in exactly the same size, you would have like a slice of tomato. And then exactly the same size, you would have like a slice of cucumber. And then it would just have that, but repeating the whole time. That would be the Pete repeat.
There we go. It's a salad that's like stacked like a sandwich.
Yes, exactly.
I like this.
Interesting. What kind of bread we got? Just standard white, but exactly the right shape.
Oh, let's say, is there a circular bread?
Crumpets.
I'm just trying to find something that would also fit.
Bagels.
There is at our deli.
Yeah, let's go with a bagel, and it's just all of that stacked in between the bagel, and you just repeat it the whole time.
Love it.
Perfect.
All right.
A recursive sandwich, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the rankings. It's time to rank this thing. So, on the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale. Starts down the bottom at failure. But if the episode was just meh, participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I'm going to land on a participant for this one. I think I could be argued into a failure, but it doesn't quite hit the lows of a lot of failures. It's the biggest sin to me is just it's boring and tedious and unnecessary, I think. So participant for me, BT.
I am going to echo that exactly. I walked away from this one. I'm like, I was bored, but I'm not really annoyed about anything. Like nothing really is going to stick in my craw and make me angry about this one. So it is just making a participant, but it's, I could be talked into kicking into the pit of failure. So it's tempting. I do like kicking things.
And how about you, Pete?
I don't think you're going to hear any arguments from me about failure, because that is a strong participant for me. It is very mediocre. And there's nothing big enough that happens in the episode to make me annoyed enough about it. It is just there, and things happen. Very superficial, very mediocre participant, for sure.
You don't get mad at beige.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be a unanimous participant. A fair few participants going around for season 35 for us so far. Homer's Crossing, where he becomes a crossing guard, was also a participant, and Do the Wrong Thing, where they do a big thing about the college's cheating scandal, and again, boring and tedious. We hear a lot about those articles that say The Simpsons is back, and like, I will say the episodes in the 30s have generally fared a bit better than the 20s, but has this inspired you, Pete? Do you think you'll be on a Simpsons binge later on, or
new Simpsons
telling people at the office, let's fire up some new Simpsons?
No.
Dang, I could have sworn we hooked him with this one.
Back to another rewatch of Avatar, The Last Airbender kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's much better. Go watch that instead. It has everything. Even the jokes are better, even though it's not a comedy. The jokes are better than this.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Sorry about the quality of the episode, but it was really lovely talking with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And yeah, have you got some stuff to plug?
Sure, yeah. Go check out my own personal YouTube channel, Pete Repeat, as we've been talking about a lot in this episode. I do video essays every so often. It's really cool. And other stuff that I do, but mainly Pete Repeat. That's the main one. Go do that.
Yep. And yeah, obviously love all your work on the Wrestle Talk channel. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan, as longtime listeners know. And yeah, yours is my favorite source for all things wrestling news and reviews and such.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And the games are a lot of fun as well. We've genuinely had played survival series in my wrestling friends groups as well, and have a lot of fun doing that.
Awesome. It's a great show. Love survival series.
Absolutely. And BT, what are we working on?
Well, if this episode has made our listeners want to cancel that nerd cruise they were going on, but they're like, now I have free money and I would like to nerd out, where can I go? They can go to patreon.com/sidequeststudios, where for like nowhere near the cost of a cruise ticket, we're talking like $5, which is nothing. They can get access to like 180 exclusive podcasts and counting. We are still going, baby. These include a whole variety of various kind of shows, where like Story of the Chalk, where Elliot, Danny, and I all kind of try and riff to figure out what is the hidden episode that led to Bart's various chalkboard gags. What happened to land him in that hot water? Or, except when he's not, where Elliot catches me up on all the episodes I missed. And even something like So Do You Like Stuff, where Elliot and I talk about stuff we like that isn't Simpsons.
We're much more positive on that show.
Generally speaking. Every now and then we're like, I saw this, it actually did suck, but...
But yeah, also our flagship show over there is Starring Springfield, where one of the Patreon perks is you get to suggest movies for us to review, but the catch is they must star a cast member of The Simpsons.
It's always got a catch.
So, yeah, it's meant we've seen a wild array of films. Any off the top of your head that you can think of, Pete? Movies that star Simpsons cast?
And we've done Godzilla.
God. Yeah. Could you do Run, Fat Boy, Run? Because I think that's
we did do that one.
Yeah.
That's
I was going to say
Hank Azaria playing the douchebag.
Yeah.
Oh, we did do that one.
Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting the variety we get as well, because... Yeah, Hank Azaria especially works with a lot of English studios, so it's like not strictly American films as well.
Run, Fat Boy, Run, all the way to something like Heat.
Yes. Who is in that again?
Hank Azaria.
Oh, of course. He's the one who's sitting across from...
Al Pacino, while Al Pacino's great ass!
Of course.
Which we'll never get tired of doing.
So if you want to hear us say that a bunch, go check it out. Patreon.com/SideQuestStudios. But for now, that is it for the Simpsons Index for this week. Thank you very much, Pete.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it, guys.
No, thank you. And thank you, BT.
I was trying to find a line from this episode I was going to repeat for my exit, but...
no good line standing out to you.
I can't believe in an episode that got a unanimous participant, there's nothing I want to say. Anyway, explaining a joke is almost as fun as hearing it. Good night, everybody.
Well, yeah, go play pickleball with Doctor Who cosplayers. And I'm Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Mustard will go nice with the pickleball. Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can also check out our other shows, like Pulp Fury Radio, our scripted fiction podcast, which tells all original stories across a range of pulp genres, and Thrones of Game, where we review Game of Thrones in reverse order. Links to those podcasts and more will be available in the show notes. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.